Same picture. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's right. Out of all of them, one will be a real good one, and that's all you need.
Exactly.
Oh.
No, I did.
Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us here at the White Gull Inn for traditional Door County fish boils. I just put your fish in the second half of the salt. 20 minutes ago, I put little red boiling potatoes in the salt. We thought that was a lot of salt. I use about a pound of salt for each gallon of water that I boil in. That's a 15-gallon pot. So
Wow.
but you'll have to trust me, it'll flavor the potatoes and the fish.
It's
the right
good.
The reason I put all the salt in there besides flavoring is I want to raise the density of the water. By increasing the density of the water, I do a couple of things. One, I raise the boiling point, so now I'll boil at 220, 225. Everything will cook that much more quickly and thoroughly. But the primary reason I want to raise the density is I make it like the Great Salt Lake or the Dead Sea. You see people floating on top of the water. And what it'll do here, and you can see it's already happening, it forces all the fat and oil that'll cook out of the fish to float on the surface of the water that much more readily. So that when the potatoes and fish are ready to be served, we can stir up the fire, get it to a rolling boil that boils over, takes all that fat oil, fish oil and fat off into the fire so that when we lift the potatoes and fish up, it'll get recoated with all that fish oil and fat. There's about 45 pounds of fish in there. Wow. It's a bit of fat and oil you want to get rid of. This turned out to be a very scientific and high-tech way to deal with the problem. I don't know who thought of the procedure, but I certainly admire the courage of the first person. Nobody really knows who started fish boils. We've been doing a large commercial fish boil here at the White Gull Inn since the late 50s. We claim to be the oldest, and it's following me around. Notice I say claimed, it is a disputed title. But actually, most people believe, and I do too, that fish boils actually started long before that. Most people think they were probably started by the fishermen in the late 1800s as a way to feed a lot of people at things like church picnics or for community suppers. Those traditions still go on. I go to a 135-year-old Swedish Baptist church up here, and we have a traditional Door County fish boil every summer. I invite you all to come. It's in August, and it's free.
Wow.
It's our annual fundraiser, though, so maybe it's not free. Another possibility as to who started it. Here again, late 1800s, but over in the middle part of the state. Lots of lumber camps. Lots of wood, lots of fish in the lakes and streams in northern Wisconsin. Lots of hungry lumbermen. It seems like it would have been logical for cooks to be doing something like this to feed the crews at the end of the day. We use Great Lakes whitefish here. It's all caught locally. That's because it's a favorite area for Great Lakes whitefish. All the bays, starting with Whitefish Bay, which is aptly named down by Jackson Port, going right up the peninsula. Moonlight Bay. It used to be called Mud Bay until they sold the estates out there, and now they're called Moonlight Bay. North Bay, Sand Bay, and Rowley's Bay are all very shallow, sandy bottom bays. Great for swimming. Maybe not this weekend, but that's actually the favorite spawning ground for Great Lakes whitefish. So that's why they're here, swimming, eating, and breeding, and that's why the fishermen are here to catch them. The way they catch whitefish, if you go around to some of those bays, you'll see some of the fishing tugs they use. Around here, those fishing tugs are pretty well totally enclosed, and that's for a couple of reasons. One is because the weather and the sea conditions can actually be worse on the Great Lakes than on the ocean at times. Last fall, we had 70-mile-an-hour winds and 30-foot waves up on Lake Superior. It's the kind of weather that put the Edmund Fitzgerald on the bottom. So working in a totally enclosed boat is relatively safer. The other is they fish for whitefish and other types of fish year-round, and it can get pretty nippy, especially in the winter. But even in the summertime, when they go out early in the morning, it can be pretty nippy. They all have a little pot-bellied stove in them, and they can crank that pot-bellied stove up, and they can go out and work all year, all day long, and relatively warm. The way way they catch whitefish is they'll motor on out in the morning and they lay out fishing nets behind the fishing tug. The nets hang off of buoys at the appropriate depth depending on where the fish are, and they locate the fish just like sports fishermen. They cheat. They use sonar locators, find the schools of fish, and then hang the nets at that depth. Then they let the nets drift there for a while. Hopefully while they're drifting, the fish try and swim through the net, are unable to, and they try and swim back out. They're also unable to. They get caught by their gills. It's a gill, referred to as a gill net and gill netting. The reason that they use gill nets to catch whitefish is even though whitefish is a species of trout, has to be 16 inches long in order to be legally taken. They actually get much larger than that, but they have a very small mouth, about the size of the end of my thumb. That's because their primary food source is a very small freshwater shrimp, almost like a Great Lakes krill. As a result, they don't respond to a lure or a bait, which is why you don't hear about sports fishermen going out after a bunch of whitefish. You can't catch them unless you're going to use a net. If you're going to use a net, you have to have a commercial license granted by the Department of Natural Resources. The Department of Natural Resources also gives you a quota as to how much whitefish you may legally take, and you have to report all your catches to the Department of Natural Resources. Needless to say, our fine, upstanding, independent, libertarian fishermen, North County fishermen, do not appreciate the Department of Natural Resources meddling in their free enterprise. However, it has resulted in a very well-regulated and protected fishery, and there has not been a decline in the whitefish population like some of the other ones, most noticeably perch. As I say, they let the nets drift there for a while, and then they lift the nets. They bring them back into the boat through the doors on the side and the rear. They've had a successful day, then they start motoring back into port. On the way back into port, they start processing the fish, cleaning the fish. You can always tell how successful a fishing tug has been as it comes back into port by the size of a flock of seagulls falling by. Enjoying the parts of the fish that we really don't care to. Actually, I think that's where fish boils really got started. You've got these fishermen days, dare I say, hungry fishermen who have been working out on the Great Lakes all day, coming in, cleaning this nice fresh fish. And if you go back to the beginning of this yarn where I mentioned that it was a pot-bellied stove, if they put a pot of water on there and put a pot of coffee, I'm sure they come out when they went out in the morning. And
It's
whatever
not
they
so
have
good
to
in
get
the
out of the
eye,
garden,
though.
potatoes, onions, carrots, on the cob, or more likely these days, what they got a Piggly Wiggly. And then nice fresh fish, they have their own fresh fish boil at the end of the day. Mighty tasty there. I'm sure they did this at home. I recommend you might want to consider doing this at home. If you think about it, it's probably the healthiest way to cook. Everything is boiled. It's not sauteed in butter. It's not deep fried in oil. And if you think of it sort of as a boiled stir fry, put in what takes the longest, working up to what takes the least amount of time, you can create your own very tasty one-pot dinners using whatever vegetables you like, whatever spices and herbs you like, and whatever type of fish you like. Create your own very tasty one-pot dinner. And speaking of tasty, if you've never had a fish boiled before, but you have a taste for fish, I can guarantee you're going to enjoy it. If you don't have a taste for fish, I encourage you to maybe try a bite. I think whitefish, even though it is a species of trout, has a very delicate flavor. I think that's because it just feeds so low down on the food chain. One primary food source, it just doesn't develop a strong fishy flavor. However, I will caution you, if you have a prejudice against butter consumption, I get over it tonight. You'll see pictures of melted butter on your table. And I used to cook with an old Navy chef up at Hotel de North whose favorite saying was butter makes it better. So if boiled fish doesn't sound good, consider it poached. I guarantee you butter makes it better. We're just about ready for the boil over. So
Yes.
then you'll be ready to eat. And if you could keep a lane open to the door so that we can carry the food in, then you could follow us in, and you'll be all set.
Yeah.
We'll smell the same, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, just soot.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I need it. I think I have my camera on. This is hurting my eyes. I can't watch this at all.
Honey, good one.
Oh, there goes my carefully applied eyelid. It says stand by when it's done recording.
Yes, thank you.
No, really stupid that way.
I know. It's like what?
Wait, what? Oh my god, was I not recording yet? You're recording. Good. Ooh, excitement. Ooh. Cool.
We are in process.
Very cool. I did take a video there of him talking. You're taking one, right?
Yeah. I'm just recording the whole thing.
So cool.
Oh.
Oh, let's see. Oh,
I'll see it in a minute. There's our fish.
yeah, I know. I'll take the pictures if you take the video.
Yes.